Hey everybody, happy late Monday. Did you think I forgot about you? I didn't. I just got super busy watching the Masters Tour all weekend and also wanting to check to see if there was anything new. And there isn't really anything new today. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how budget players are faring right now. We've got a lot to talk about. So first of all, if you did not see or you did see the Masters Tour, it was very good this weekend. We saw some pretty cool games, some pretty crazy games, and I wanted to talk about some of the good cards that happened, some of the good combos. I wanted to talk about the nerfs that are coming up tomorrow, because yes, there's nerfs tomorrow. But first, let's get into it. For the last week, the win rates have been Shaman, Demon Hunter, Paladin, Druid, and Hunter. Hunter was surprisingly super good at the Masters Tour. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. These games were really, really strong. The class is very, very strong. For it to be number 5 here, you're seeing it on this list, and then just think of how good it was at the Masters Tour. It was pretty cool to see. Shaman's just everywhere. I thought Shaman, with it being number 1, would be, top of the win rates in terms of all of the decks that were being played. But to me, I thought that Hunter was very strong and, yeah, in some cases, match winning 100%. Let's see. Yeah, Priest and Warlock. Listen, there was a couple of decks that were Warlock, a couple that were Warrior. Rogue was very strong. Death Knight, the 1-2 that were in there, those are situationally strong. There was no Mage and no Priest in any of the decks shown for the Masters Tour, which is interesting. Let's go into just the past 7 days, looking at what the popularity is for the past 7 days. Yeah, look at this. What doesn't shock me is this, Dungar Druid. Love it or hate it, it's a deck. It's being played. I know why it was brought this weekend. I think it's a little weak sauce, meaning I think it's kind of like a cheat. But, it wasn't in every player's comp. It wasn't that at all. I think there was like 2 or 3 instances of it, if that. It wasn't crazy strong, but I noticed that when I'm watching some of these games, it's like, hey, once you get the combo that you need, the game is essentially over, and I don't like that. I think that's kind of a cheat. Pirate Shaman is right next to it. We've went over Pirate Shaman, just came out like last week. I think we talked about this one last week, and it's really good. You could tell that the popularity is number 2. Rainbow and Death Knight is very strong as well in terms of the total meta. It's just very expensive for us. Remember, trying to get decks below 5,000. And then Asteroid Shaman, number 4, that one's also strong. There is a deck that is below 5,000 dust. Any of the decks I start to mention, I have a lot of links for you. I'll leave in the description below. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Elemental Mage is also strong, but without seeing it on the ladder, without seeing it on the Masters Tour and without seeing it too prevalent in the past couple of days, at least me personally, I'm like, okay, it's there. It's still strong. It'll still win you games. But if you're playing some sort of elemental, I think it would probably be better for you to play Asteroid Shaman. I don't know. If you're playing with elementals, Asteroid Shaman has elementals. I don't know. It's based on your preference, obviously. And then listen, Control Warrior was broken. There were some broken games for Control Warrior. At least one that I remember. It was like 43 mana and it was like 800 armor. It was just crazy. It's too expensive for us, but go watch that VOD. I did a video yesterday just recapping some of the highlights and some things that I saw, and the link is in that description. You could also go to YouTube and just search up Hearthstone Masters Tour, and you will find it. And then Rogue. Rogue has Space Rogue and Cycle Rogue. There's some strong decks being played right now. One of the things I was shocked, because I don't think I've seen a Priest player in a month. I haven't been playing a lot, but I haven't seen a Priest player in that small space that I've been playing at all in like weeks. And yeah, this is like, number 10, number 11 decks. Let's go over some of the decks that we can start talking about. Like I said, Death Knight, Rainbow's way too expensive, but we have Frost still. I mentioned Frost last video, I believe, and it's 3880 dust for a 58.1% win rate. So if you have some Death Knight cards, you could do that. Demon Hunter's got some powerful options. Aggro Demon Hunter, like I said, there was forms of Demon Hunter, multiple different forms of Demon Hunter being played in the Masters Tour, so it is strong. Will you be as competitive as the Master Tours on some of them? No. I looked at most of the decks, and I don't think I saw a deck below 6,000 dust. And I will link all of the deck codes. Well, I'll link the link to all of the deck codes from the Masters Tour just so you can see. The idea would be, we'll go into this. The idea would be going through some of these and like copy pasting to see what you're missing. Because listen, if Masters Tours players can bring these decks in, there's something there. And if you look at chunks of these decks, the essential parts of chunks of these decks are in those budget decks. Hand Buff Paladin. Hand Buff Paladin, the main essentials that you would need to play is 1,000 dust, and everything is here. Everything is here except for 1 or 2 different cards, Let's see, what else? Let's go into Druid. Druid's got Dungar at 10,000, and there's Treant. We talked about that last week. Not going over that. Hunter's got Secret. There's that Grunter that I've talked about multiple times. It's also got an aggro or Discover one. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about it right now. One of the decks that I was super surprised at with this Discover Hunter, and this is the winning decks from Yan Ming. He won the Masters Tour. And this interaction. So listen, we know we have Rangari Scout, which, after you discover a card, you get a copy of it, as well as the, let's see, where is that card there? Grifta. This one is crazy good. I did not think that this card would be a lot of play time, if you will. But this deck, with these cards, with having the, Rangari Scout being able to get a copy of those cards is just crazy. And Grifta has so many options, like Amulet of Passions, take control of the enemy minion at the end of your turn. It has 1 attack this turn. You don't get that one. No, your opponent gets that one. You get this one, take control of an enemy minion until the end of your turn. So whatever it is, you can use. There's some really cool things on this. I didn't think that combo was a thing. And then I look at the Master Tour and then, wow, it's all over the place. What else can we go over? Let's also talk about Mage. Yeah, Mage, like I said, Mage has Elemental. And that's essentially their Spell Mage, but I don't think you're playing Spell Mage. There's only 220 games played in the past week. Yeah, Elemental. That's what you're playing if you're playing Mage. Let's see, Paladin. Like I said, with Paladin, you've got Hand Buff at 1040 Dust. 1040 Dust to get you a deck that's competitive enough with modifications to Worlds. That's pretty big. That's pretty awesome. Priest, yeah, Priest has Fishing and Zarami. I haven't seen Priest. I personally, not a fan of Priest, but to each their own. I just don't see anything here that's easy to pop off. And yeah, I just don't see anything worth playing for Priest right now. Maybe we'll have some changes soon. There's a bunch of options for Rogue. So Rogue, you just throw a bunch of Rogue cards in and boom, you've won the game. And that's kind of a joking way of putting it, but it's not far off. Each one of the decks that you see for Rogue is pretty compatible with the others. You got Weapon, there's a Cycle, there's a Pressure, there's, maybe not Mech and maybe not Weapon Rogue, maybe not Amalgam and Mech, but even Spellburst Rogue. It's got the same thing, same elements in them. And some of the decks from the Masters Tour were pretty strong. Really strong, actually. Let's see, Cycle Rogue, yeah, 8,000 dust. So it's not perfect, but it's there. Let's see, Sonya, that's getting a nerf. What else? Cycle Rogue, yeah, here's one for 8,000. So it's about 7,000, 8,000 dust. You can go crazier than that, but for you to have something like that, that's, hey, for 5,000 dust, you're starting out with a Cycle Rogue, and then you're able to go to Worlds with 4,000 more dust. That's pretty cool. Next up, let's go in with Shaman. Shaman was all over the place. There's Burn, Asteroid. Yeah, those are the two things, but there's a lot of different ones. There's Elemental Shaman. This one literally says, this has got to be wrong, because it says 26 games played, but it's got an 80% win rate. So bear with me on some of these numbers here. These are good numbers that are kind of accurate, but that's huge. That's got to be a misprint. Warlock. Warlock is just too expensive. The cheapest one for us with a nice halfway decent win rate is at 8,000 dust. There's also some nutty. So Yan Ming, and I'm going to go over those decks in a few minutes. Same thing with Warrior. Warrior's awesome, but Warrior's just too expensive right now. So let's look at Yan Ming's decks. He had Discover Hunter. It's strong. Yes, it says 13,000 dust right now. Don't shake at it. You know, I would sit there and pull some of these and see what you have. Like I said, the idea is for you to be able to, you know, put these decks together in your deck codes and try to run to see if there's anything there that you can start building from it, because it is strong. So you need Exart Niall for this one. Agromar, this one's very, very expensive, but still doable. At least the chunks of this deck is there. Cycle Rogue was very strong. This Armor Warlock was strong. There's a couple of crazy games with Warlock. And this Warrior one here, yes, it's 12,000, but oh my goodness, this was really, really good. This did some nutty games. Let's see. Also, the one thing I wanted to mention here, I'm looking at all these decks. Almost every deck came with Ziliax. Everybody except for one person, I believe in the stats, had a deck with Ziliax in it. Some of them have Ziliax in all of their decks, or at least 3 of their decks. Ziliax is everywhere, but maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. Patch notes. There's going to be a patch tomorrow, and the patch is going to do some balance changes. To go through Wild real quick, Dark Glare and Demon Seed are getting nerfed in some way, shape, or form to the excitement of all Wild players everywhere. But the big jump is we're getting some changes on the standard side. Sonya's getting a little bit of adjustment. It looks like there's an adjustment with the Pylon module for Ziliax. So this is like the 5th or 6th time that Ziliax has been nerfed. So yeah, Sonya's getting some sort of nerf. Pylon's getting a nerf. Sigil of Skydiving is getting a nerf. Crystal Cluster is getting a nerf as well. And then they're buffing Talgath. And Talgath, to me, when I did talk about this card coming out, I was like, oh yeah, this could be 100% completely broken if it was just strong enough. And then I didn't see it being played. Well, you know, I shouldn't have said that, because now it's getting some sort of buff. Lord knows what it's going to be, but it's probably going to be broken. So what's going to happen is Rogue is going to go from the busted Sonya Rogue to the busted Talgath. That's what's probably happening. So prediction there. And then, like I said, the Wild nerfs for Dark Glare and Demon Seed, supposedly, and I do not play Wild, but this is like something that's been going on for a while now. I do know of Wild streamers right now that are saying they retired because of these cards. So maybe they'll finally get nerfed into oblivion to where, you know, some of these players will come back. As well as, listen, a bunch of balance changes for Battlegrounds. I have been having a lot of fun playing Battlegrounds right now. Just not playing it a ton, but, you know, things are busy, holidays, what have you. And then there was one other thing I just wanted to go over really quick. Looking at some of these cards. So I pulled the cards, win rates or play rates, and the percentage of decks. There you go. Percentage of decks, and I looked at the last 7 days, bronze through gold, and what's number 1 at 57%? Ziliax. Ceaseless Expanse is right next to it, but not even close. Ziliax, Ceaseless, and Ethereal. So this was a bronze through gold. Let's look at platinum. Look at that. Ziliax at 59%. Let's look at diamond. Ziliax at 61%. Let's look at legend. Ziliax at 58%. This card, I'm hoping something with the nerf does something with this. It just, to me, I think it's weak that if every deck has Ziliax in it, and me, I use Ziliax as well when it's needed. You know, why would I not? I want to win games. But for it to be in half the decks, you know, that you're seeing right now, or then some, Ziliax was all over the place, like I said, this weekend on the Masters Tour. It's just time for that to hopefully change a little bit. I don't mind the card, but it's going to be here for a while, and it just makes no sense where if you had a lot more than 30 cards, let's not have every deck have Ziliax a necessity in those decks. So that's just me. I'm ranting that way. Like I said, ETC, Ceaseless, Ethereal Oracle, Gorgonzormo, none of this is shocking. You can tell right here that Grifta's stocks went up. I wonder, yeah, that's not because of Hunter, but maybe it is a little bit because of Hunter. Because like I said, Grifter was just amazing. Looking at that card from a new light, 100%. Mind Control Tech, this one makes perfect sense too. You know, if your opponent has 4 more minions, take control of one. Why would you not want to take control of them, especially if they're the starship? It's a good card. And then look, Bob the Bartender. I have not played Bob the Bartender yet. In fact, I think I just got it 2 days ago. But it's seeing play, and it's interesting to see is it being played because it's free and all you have to do is just, you know, play games and everything like that, or is there something else and it's a busted statistic? I think we should see in a couple of days. You know, I'm not making any assumptions right now. I did not like one element of Bob when I first saw it come out, but I haven't played it yet, so I don't want to sit there and say, oh my god, get rid of it, get rid of it. So yeah, I've ranted enough. I'm going to put some deck codes, some ones that I think that are very good for you right now. They'll be in the description. I'll link all of the cards from the Masters Tour in the description as well. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.